So we need either a belt, a strap, a scarf, or you can skip it, but it's nice to have one of these so when we do some of our hamstring stuff, we can get a little bit longer. So today we are going to be working these guys, the hamstrings, maybe not working them, but stretching hamstrings. So we'll work more towards tightness on the legs. Whether or not you want your video on is up to you for those on Zoom. And if you're watching the recording, welcome to Hamstring All Levels Yoga. So a lot more focus on movement, body, and stretching out sore legs. In summertime, there's a lot of biking, running, walking, and also sitting if you're working a lot. So hamstrings. We'll start seated. So we can set this aside for now. Today, I actually want to start seated with your legs forward. So take a bend in the knees and just sit up tall. So feet down, sitting up, and rest your hands. You can rest them on the knees, or you can, rest them on the floor if that's more comfortable. Or if you are feeling extra tight or like your back needs support, take your hands behind you, tent the fingers to help you sit up tall. And this is one variation of an easy seated pose. So knees bent. You can go straight if it's comfortable, straight legs if it's comfortable. I'm going to keep mine bent today. So let's take a deep breath in, lift through the spine, and a slow breath out. So as you're sitting comfortable, and however that might be right now, we can close the eyes or look down. Taking deep breaths in and out through the nose, take this time to check in. Just to check in with your sensations, your core strength, tightness, strength, and flexibility. But also checking in with how the breath is flowing and where the mind is flowing. So bring your awareness, your mind, to this moment, to your breath, to your body, and keep it there. Now very slowly, if your legs are forward, let's start to inch them forward a little longer. And you might even put a blanket or a towel underneath the knees, unless you just want to keep them bent. Just keep inching them a little longer until they're out in front of you. Keep some space between the toes. So we sit up tall in this L shape or Dandasana, staff pose. Take your hands and press down into the ground next to your hips. Roll the shoulders back and try imagining someone pulling the top of your head towards the ceiling and very slowly pressing the heels a little farther forward. Good, and taking some movement in this position, open those arms out to the side, squeeze shoulder blades together, maybe a big shoulder roll. Then open up a little farther, take those hands back. Then round the back as you come forward, exhaling, pulling the belly in. So from the side view, it's a staff pose, cat and cow. So then arching the back. And then forward. And we can keep the knees bent too doing this. So legs forward, cat and cow. Sort of swimming back and forth. Activating the muscles through the core and back of the body. Well, front too, but the core section, that torso. Then lengthening the legs if you can a little more. Reach forward towards the toes. It's okay for a rounded back here. Roll it up. Do that again, reach up. Now try long length through the spine. Reach forward, hinging forward at the hips. You might not get very far, that's okay. Roll it back. Big shoulder circle, arms back, up, straight up. Keep that length, hinge forward, hands down. Roll it up. We'll do that 2 more times. Lots of length. Hinge forward. Hands down. Roll it up. 1 more time. Hands back. around, up, hinge forward, hands down, and roll it up. Good, nice job. That's our little staff pose warm up. So then cross the legs or bring them to the side as you roll onto your hands and knees. We're gonna warm up the hamstrings a little bit more and also the rest of the body. It's all connected before we stretch out, getting it deeper into the hamstrings. So let's just take it in regular cat and cow poses on hands and knees. We've kind of done this already seated, but let's just do it without the length of the legs here. Just a few times to loosen up the spine, the muscles that wrap around the spine, and build a little more heat. Okay, bringing it back to a neutral position. Let's stretch out the wrists for a moment. So flip the hands, take the backs of the hands back. You can tuck the toes and see if we can shift back just a little. Keeping a bend in the elbows. And then shift forward again. Now let's take the hands and flip them so the fingers are still facing the knees. Keep the toes tucked, sit back. I think I actually want to move closer. So keep stretching out the wrists. Here we go. And unflip. Good, toes tucked under, sit back. Give yourself a foot stretch. So you're gonna sit on the heels, rest your hands on your thighs, close your eyes, take a few deep breaths as you feel the toes tucked, sitting on the heels. And you might be up here, that's all right. If this is really hard on the toes, then unflip them, tops of the feet on the floor. Abs in, shoulders soft. Good, reach up. And finally, take it forward again to hands and knees. Point the toes, give a little taps on the ground. Back to our 4-point base. Now we'll find some strength through the hamstrings by taking one leg. You can pick a leg. I'm gonna take my left leg back. You can choose one. One leg goes straight back. So you're activating the back of the legs. Feel the glutes activate. Shoulders point down. Take the opposite hand, reach it forward. That's it. We could stay in this pose and really feel a lot. So avoiding the sag and lifting up through the belly, chest lifting, and lengthening in this straight line. So can you press a little bit more through the heel, reach a little longer through the fingers, and maybe even shift forward. Now let's add core strengthening to this. Deep breath in, length longer. Exhale, pull the elbow to the knee. Whoop, might fall over, that's okay. Extend, inhale. As much as you can, squeeze that glute. Exhale, pull it in. Pressing away with that bottom hand. Reach once more and pull it in. Good, extend it, hold it. Now we're gonna take just the hand down. Bend the knee so you're at 90 degrees. We do hip circles. So getting into that, well, I'm the opposite right now, or you can't see it, but that's all right. So we lift the knee a little higher and then come out to the side and around. So avoiding leaning to the side, instead just using the activation of the glutes and the hamstrings and the leg to get that leg in a circle. It can be tempting to arch the lower back. Let's keep that lifted. And let's switch directions. Okay, I'm gonna take that knee down. Take both knees a little wider, sit back on the heels, extend the arms forward for child's pose. We'll only be here for a couple breaths and then we'll switch sides. All right, shifting forward. Let's walk those hands back again, knees underneath the hips. Take the opposite foot, than the one we just did. For me, it's my right. Press back. Lift, so again, avoiding this action here, instead pressing, lifting. Length through the top of the head, opposite hand comes forward. Now, the more you reach, the more you're going to feel. I love this pose because it targets so much with strength building, length, core, hamstrings, glutes, and even that bearing weight on the hand so you get shoulders activated too. Now reach a little longer. As you exhale, pull it elbow to knee. Inhale, extend. Pull it in. Same thing with the fingers on their ground. Squeeze them in like you're gripping. See the whites of the fingernails. Inhale, extend. Exhale, pull in. Reach long, inhale, pause. Hands comes down. Bend that knee. There we go. Press, lifting, again, always checking in, the belly is lifted. Foot comes up, knee goes around. So you're working through the hip, upper leg, glute squeezing. Adductors and abductors, switch directions. Can you lift that knee just a little higher without leaning to the side? Maybe. All right, take the knee down, open the knees, sit back. Child's pose. Wiggle out the fingers and the wrists. And then shifting forward again. Hands will come forward in front of the shoulders. Tuck the toes under this time. Lift the knees, press back to downward facing dog. We're not here for too long, so give it a quick little pedal of the feet. We'll play into those hamstrings a little more. Walk the feet forward to the top of the mat, just behind the hands. Maybe a little wider. Bend the knees a little bit as you sink the heart, the belly, the head down. Grab the elbows and sway. Side to side. Shake out the head. It should feel like a nice release after those hip circle rotations. And then release the hands down to the floor. Find a little bend in the knees. Take one hand down to the ground. Reach the other arm up high. You'll notice one knee starts to bend and the hips pop out a little bit. That's okay. Twist. Switch sides. Take that upper hand down. The other knee bends as you reach up, other hand. Then take it back down. Bend the knees and roll yourself up to a standing pose. You can even walk the hands up. There we go. So the feet are going to stay about hip distance apart. Hip distance, there we go. And if you have a strap, we don't need it yet, but have it on the side. Shoulders back, palms forward. Good, take an inhale, reach those hands up. My hands are out of the frame, that's okay. Connect the hands, press the hips forward, chest forward, shoulders back. Then take those hands to your heart. Just hold it, exhale. Bring those hands down again, big circle up. And then hands come down, passing through the heart center, hinge at the hips very slowly. Slow hinge. So take a few breaths on your way down with a flat back. Hands draw a line down the middle, finally coming to the floor. Press the hands into the shins, lengthen and strengthen that back as you half lift. Gaze just in front of the toes. Then plant the hands down. Walk the feet back, both of them. Just walk them back into that down dog position. But from down dog, shift forward so your shoulders are over the wrists. Take the knees down. Flatten the feet if it feels nice. You can keep the toes tucked. Hug the elbows in and lower to your belly. Belly, chest, chin down. Shoulders, elbows back and squeeze. Lift the heart. Good. Cobra pose. Then press into the hands and knees. Tuck the toes under. Lift the hips up and back. Now we'll stay a few deep breaths in down dog. It's a great hamstring opener as well as strength builder for the upper body. We'll get a little more into the hamstrings as we progress into some lunges. So from here, take the toes together. Just creates a nice little triangle from right, left hand to the toes. Lift the right leg up behind you. Bend the knee. Lift the left heel. Step the right foot between the hands using that core strength. Might not get all the way up there, so you can help your foot up gently and take the back knee down. Flatten that back foot and walk the hands up to the thigh. So then we're going to press, like actively press, like you're trying to slide your pants down your leg. Shoulders roll back and feel the top of the left leg. Top of the back leg, that's your quad, your hip flexor. Then reach your hands up, lengthen into that lunge, really reaching back, whoop, finding a little balance. Look up, then shift forward as you exhale, shifting forward, pulling those toes up, straighten that front leg, hands come down to opposite sides of the foot. Now you might keep your hands up here, or you can take them down to the floor. If you've got blocks, they also help to lift the floor up for you. We're going to actively feel like the straight leg, feel the hip pulling back while you press the heel forward and the toes back. So there's a lot of push and pull going on here. The more you sit the hips back, the more you're going to feel in the hamstring. And then go ahead and see if we can get a little lower. Fold down. Keep the toes pulling back, you'll feel the calf. Nice, staying in this half splits. I like this pose too. A lot of poses, I'm gonna say, are one of my favorites. Okay, shift forward, adding on from there. This is a little more challenging. Hands come forward in front of the toes. Tuck the back toes under. Lift the leg, hop it in, and try this. Lift that back leg off the ground as you fold over the right leg. Standing splits or standing leg lift. So instead of opening up, we're not going for that open hip variation. Keep the toes and left hip pointed down towards the floor. Bend the left knee, the one that's on top. And we'll take it across so the knees connect. Bend the knee just a little bit and step the left foot to the outside of the right foot. Go crisscross and adjust so that you're right over both legs. And walking those hands forward just a little, bend those knees deeper. Pick up the left foot, step it back again into that lunge. Those legs, wow. Walk the hands up to the thighs. This time back knee stays up. You might even walk it in just a little bit. So in this crescent lunge, same side that we did, to begin with. Right knee forward. Maybe not as low right now. Reach up as you inhale. We'll go back and forth. Straighten that front leg. Keep the back heel lifted. Find some balance as your hands come to your thigh. Hinge forward. A variation of pyramid pose, also balance work. Bend the knee again, reach up. Pull the elbows back, open the heart. Exhale, squeeze. Inhale, reach up. Straight leg, exhale, hands to your thighs or your hips. Do it again, bend the knee, reach up. Pull the elbows back, heart opens. Here we go, reach up, keep the knee bent. Straight leg and pause. Pause here, hold it. Can you take the hand then to the shin? Maybe to the ground, maybe. Otherwise, keep it lifted, keep your upper body lifted and back flat. Work towards straightening that right leg. Two more deep breaths. And finally, bending into that knee as you take the hands down. Step back to down dog. Maybe give that right leg a little shake out. It kind of burns. But we need that strength, that flexibility, mobility, everything. So it's going to be more than just a simple stretch. If stretching were easy, we'd all be super flexible. So we need to gain that strength for the stability in our joints too. All right, from there, let's take that left leg, let's take the feet together again to the other side. Left leg rises, bend the knee, lift that right heel, step the left foot between the hands. Should feel good after that first side. Walk the hands back or maybe inch the foot forward, back knee comes down, flatten the foot. Lengthen through that back leg. So you try to get the hips lower than the shoulders. Now, anytime you need a little cushion under the knee like a blanket or take it into more of a 90-degree angle, that's okay too. I just happen to want to feel this back leg a little bit more. Walk the hands up to the thighs and imagine pressing it forward. Trying to get the hips more forward without sending the knee over the toes. Good, then reach your hands up. Reach them back. Nice low lunge. Good, as you exhale next time, exhaling, straightening that front leg, sending the hips back, half splits, toes lift up, hands come down to both sides of the mat. Keep trying to, like you're almost trying to drag your heel back, but then send energy out through the heel. So both pushing and pulling, strengthening and stretching. Hands can stay here, here, or even walking forward a little more. Maintaining that long back. So we're not stretching the back here, we're stretching the hamstrings. And as we get more flexibility in the backs of the legs, that will then, the chain, posterior chain, rolls up the body and connects to making that back feel better. So it's all connected. And then we'll shift it forward. How do we do that? Bending into that left knee, walk the hands forward, tuck the back toes under, lift the knee and walk that right foot in until, well, the hands come forward, lift the back leg. Flex foot, do your best to straighten that leg on the bottom, but without locking it out. Hands might even be a little more forward, that's okay, just less weight in the hands. And more so trying to get that belly to touch the left thigh, even a little bend in the knee to get there, that's cool. Squeeze to that back glute to lift, shake out the head a little bit. Stand strong, stay still. Notice your ankle, it's got some shakiness, that's okay. And then bend that right knee to the top. Connect the knees, so bend them just a little bit. And straightening up that right leg, place the pinky toe on the outside of the left foot, crisscross forward folds. This one might be a little challenging. Might keep a bend in the knee, or maybe your foot's a little farther back. And then uncross the leg. Lift that right leg up again, walk the hands back, step it back into a lunge. Here's where we get a little stronger. Walk the hands up, the left leg. I know if you, Niles, you said you ran a bunch, so this might be a little bit tiring because we are heating a little bit, which is fine. Just maybe a little bit tiring to do this in a lunge. So you can always walk it in just a little bit, okay? Reach up. Good, then straighten that front leg. Keep the heel lifted, hands on your thigh. Here I was today thinking we were doing a super stretchy, nice hamstring stretch, but really we will get there. We're going to get into the deeper stretches after this heat building portion. Good, and then from there, bend the knee, reach up, inhale. Exhale, pull the elbows back. Inhale, reach up. Straight leg, hands on your thigh. One more time like that. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, bend the elbows. Inhale, reach up. Straighten the leg and then come down. And hold in this one. You can take the hand to the thigh, the shin, or maybe it's a little lower towards the floor, fingertips on the floor. Back heel still could be lifted. If you've got the calf flexibility to press the heel back, get more into the back calf too. But we don't want to turn our foot out to the side. We're keeping it straight back. Now, as you, let's say, adjust this pose, so let's say to like try to squeeze the feet together versus trying to separate the legs apart, you'll feel different sensation. Neither one is right or wrong, it's just different. Good, and then bending into that left knee, plant the hands down, step back to down dog. Shake out the left leg. Maybe give it a little rotation in down dog or on the knee. You can be on the knee or in down dog. Good, both knees down, a little wider, child's pose. Let's just sit back, take a break off of the hamstrings out of our standing poses. Reaching those hands forward, let's shift back. Let's take it back to down dog once more. Walk the feet forward to the top of the mat. Lift up halfway, so lengthen, press into the shins. Forward fold as you exhale. Rise up, bend the knees, open those arms, reach up. And then bring your hands down to your heart. Let's take it wide. Step your feet wide. Turn the toes to face the long edge of your mat or wherever you are. Parallel feet. Got it? Star position. Nice vibrant star. Take an inhale. Exhale, hands on your hips. Again, roll the shoulders back. One more breath in. Then we fold. Exhale. Let's fold it down, taking the hands right underneath the shoulders. Now, I don't know about you, but I've definitely got some tightness, not necessarily, usually on one side more than the other. So ease into it. Slow breaths. And if you do find that one side has some pain or is extra tight, bend your knees. Not just one of them, but both of them. Keep those hands in line with the middle of the feet. Elbows over the wrists. 2 more breaths. Now lift up about halfway or so, walking your hands forward. Bend one knee, so you're in a side lunge. Bend one knee, so you shift, so you feel the inner thigh of one of the legs. I'll have to move here. There we go. Bend one knee. Just keep the fingertips down. Feel the shakiness. Blade of the foot is down. The feet are still parallel to each other. And press into the bent knee foot to lift up rather than pulling with the hamstring, and walk it to the other side. So if it helps to take a hand on the thigh or elbow to your thigh, that is fine. We're getting into the inner thigh part of the leg. And lifting back up to center. Pivot to the front of your mat, whichever side that is fine. I'm going to take it to a deeper version, or try to, a deeper version of our splits. So you take the knee down at first, flatten the foot, straighten the leg, and we can take this pose again, or spread it a little wider. A little wider. Maybe you're down in splits, but 3/4 is a great place to be. Just to feel, there's a lot of sensation going on in both legs. The front hamstring, hip flexor and quad of the back leg, and the hips stay forward. So you're scissoring the legs, almost like you're trying to squeeze the back knee and front heel together, rather than opening up to the side. Now, if you are down at all or feeling comfortable, or maybe you have a block underneath that front hamstring, let's see if I can do this. Trying to reach up. Not today, but you could try. Now tuck the back toes under and inch your way out of this. Good. Shift forward to the hands and knees, or the kneeling sort of 90-degree bend in each lunge. Tuck the back toes, and we pivot to the other side. Walk the hands right through where you came from. Other side. Okay. Move this way for you. Other side. So we got this low lunge that turns into half splits. That might turn into a wider splits, 3/4 or full splits. And adjusting with anything underneath the leg if you would like. Back knee. You can lift the upper body, reach the hands overhead or to your heart. Or maybe it's just one hand. This is also a good one to fold forward into. Feeling a little tight today. My right side, this is the side that's in front for me right now, is extra concerning. So I'm taking it easy. And slowly shifting back into that low lunge. Pivoting back, tucking the back toes, lift, pivot back to this wide forward fold. Fold down once more. Maybe the elbows come down. Maybe you want to grab your ankles or your toes. Or hands behind the head. Get comfortable here. Okay, walk the hands back to the center, just under the shoulders, bend the knees. Take your hands to your hips as you inhale, rise up. And we'll step to the top of our mat. There we go, hands together at your heart. Take that deep breath and slow down the exhale. Moving on to the floor, we'll reach those hands up. Inhale. Slowly drawing the hands down the center. Try to keep a little straighter legs, even if they're hip distance. Straighter legs, as you fold until you reach the bottom. Get a few breaths. Half lift, inhale. Exhale, plant the hands down. Step your feet back to down dog. Quick one. Shift it forward to plank pose. Knees come down, flat feet, lower to your belly. Lifting to cobra pose, shoulders and elbows squeeze as you press into the hands. Then press into hands and knees, tuck the toes under, downward dog. We haven't done a lot of external rotation in the legs yet, but I think we'll do pigeon pose next, just to get into a different rotation. So take your right leg, start with the right side, draw your knee to your elbow, turn your foot across so your shin crosses the mat, place it down. Extend the back leg. We won't be here for too terribly long. It's just a way to get into stretching this side after a lot of strength building with our lunges. So just sitting up tall, rock back and forth, sort of find the right position, find the right position that works for you right now. And then walk the hands down, maybe to the elbows, or maybe you're lying down over that right shin. And then walk it back up. Hands lift up, upper body lifts up, hands under the shoulders. Tuck the back toes, lift the hips, pull your belly up and in, right foot steps back. Might give it a quick pedal of the feet before we switch sides. And here we go, left leg lifts, bend the knee, knee to elbow, knee to left elbow. Turn that leg across, shin down. You can flex that left foot to keep safe in that front knee. Walk the back leg farther. Now if pigeon pose, and I didn't mention this before, but if today it's not feeling good on one side, we do have the option to come to the back and do it this way. Back or seated, figure 4. This one can sometimes put a lot of pressure on the knee just because our weight is sitting down onto the leg there. But if we're feeling good, then stay here. Walking the hands forward, lengthening through the back leg, and finding the, pigeon pose or half pigeon, more of a sleeping pigeon. But don't fall asleep, please. I want you to find more sensation, your breath. And then slowly walking this back up. Hands under shoulders, tuck the back toes under, step it back. Pedal the feet a couple times. Last downward facing dog of our practice. And take the knees down. Cross the legs or swing the legs around to a seated pose. I haven't even gotten to this yet, that's okay. Legs go straight forward, out in front of you. And this is where, let's try this. Even if you can touch your toes, that's all right. So take your legs forward, roll the inner thighs a little closer together. Take this strap just above the arch of the feet. Sit up tall, press through the heels so your knees come down, your heels might even lift, and start to pull forward, so bending the elbows. We're not trying to get the hands to touch the toes or anything like that. Just pulling forward enough where you feel toes pulling back actively, tailbone pressing and pointing down, abs engaged. And a nice flat back, tall spine. And every so often you might back out and come back in a little bit more. We'll do this one leg at a time. So we lift up out of that, but keep the strap around your right foot. Take the left foot out. Left foot will go to the inner thigh. The right leg stays straight. So turn your body over that right leg. You can take a strap in both hand, one in each hand or both in both hands, and pull down. Knees out to the side. This is creating, I'll show you from this angle. It's creating a little hip opening here and a hamstring stretch. So we pull down towards that right leg. And you'll get a little farther than you did probably with both legs forward. And then getting a little deeper, instead of trying to keep a flat back, now let's round a little bit over that right leg. So now we add a little more length to the back after strengthening so much. And hopefully you're feeling still your hamstrings more than the back. If you are not, or if that's the case, then come up out of it a little bit. All right, rising back up, lift it, switch sides. Strap goes over just above the arch of the foot, below the ball of the foot, of that left foot, left leg. Right leg comes in, turn your body towards a straight leg side, lift up tall, and exhale down over left leg. Check in with your breath. Is it fluid? Is it deep? Is it working with you? And even though we're holding, we're still doing a constant movement. Breath movements, in and out gently. Now on your next exhale, round the back a little bit more over that left leg, the straight leg. Maybe draw your nose or forehead down towards the leg. Okay, walk it back up. Feeling enough yet? Maybe. Legs go wide. Now, not too terribly wide, so not splits wide, but wide as in like 90 degrees or so. Keep the toes pointed up, not turning out to the side or in, but pointed up. Lift up tall. Hands start behind your back. Lift a little taller. Lean forward. Hands might then walk forward if your back is able to stay flat. And more so try to hinge in the hips here rather than rounding. Rather than rounding to get down with your hip bones pointed forward, try to point your hip bones downward, giving your pelvis a tilt. You might or might not feel more in the legs. If you ever injure your hamstring, not just a tear, but even something small, these are one of the muscles that takes a long time to heal. So be patient with those legs, those precious hamstrings. I say this because I've been feeling something in my hamstring for months, and it's just gonna be there for a little while. And we just keep showing up. And that's what we can do. We can show up and notice, become aware, and show up again. All right, we're gonna walk it back up. Bend the knees. Walk your feet in to the top of the mat. Keep your strap. We're gonna roll down to our backs. So reaching forward, roll it down, finding your shoulders down, your head down, your chest down. Not your chest, your back, your shoulders. Take the feet about hip distance, hands next to your hips, palms pressed down. Activating the hamstrings and low back again, press into the feet for bridge pose. So now feel that length through the front line of your body. If this at all hurts the knees, make sure that the feet are a little more forward. And your heels are helping to press your upper body, press your mid-body up and back. Heart is pulling back towards, behind your head. And then slowly working your way back down to the floor. Heel toe the feet together and simply let the knees fall open. Hands can rest by your sides or on your leg. Let go of any effort that we've put in with stretching or strengthening, and just allow gravity to do its thing. And then from there, we're going to lift the legs up. Feet come in. Lengthen that left leg out in front of you. Hug the right knee in, close to you. Let's take a twist. Right leg comes across the body. You can pull that left hip underneath the right. Extend that right arm for that spinal twist. You can choose how high you want that right knee, up or down. Nice to get into a twist. We haven't done a lot of twisting today. But it helps to reset the spine for the rest of the day. So let's switch it up. Take that right leg back. Hug the knee in, squeeze it in close. And switch sides. Left knee in, squeeze it in first, set it up. Press into the right heel to get that right hip underneath. Twist. Look away from the legs. And keep both shoulders anchored to the floor. And we'll take that left leg back up to the top. Hug the knee in again. And hug both knees in. Rock side to side. And if it feels okay for you, grab the feet, happy baby pose, rocking side to side, or circles for that lower back. There we go. And then from here, we're heading into our final longer holding pose, and where we absorb everything we just took in. That would be Shavasana. So we can choose if you want to take the knees open here. You can keep the knees bent and knock together. We could also just simply lay down. So if it feels okay on your back, on your lower back, on your body, to lengthen, let the feet fall open and hands rest by your side. Please head to the pose of your choice for corpse pose, shavasana, relaxation, meditation. And use this time to check in again. Notice the sensations of your body. Notice the calm warmth of your breath. And notice your body getting heavier as you start to relax. Each thought that passes through your mind, let it drift through and then out. As you move one breath, one thought at a time. So you get to stay here a few minutes, just practicing stillness. It might not come easy to us, but it's a great practice to get into. Relax, just be and breathe, and I'll guide you out in a few minutes. All right, let's start to take a deep breath in as you wiggle the fingers and the toes to reignite some energy through the body. Take a deep breath. Let that breath go. Reach your hands overhead. Long stretch out from fingers to toes. And then bend the knees and roll onto your side. from that side lying position. Let's press back up to our seated pose. So pressing into that top hand, slide yourself up, and you can sit however is most comfortable. I'm gonna sit for the first time in a cross-legged position, sitting up tall. Good, flip your hands. And we'll do this together, reach up. As you connect those hands, draw them down to your heart on an exhale. And pause for a moment. This is a great place to bring in some gratitude, some appreciation for our practice, for our family, for our friends, for our life. So draw that in, all that good stuff. Pull the thumbs to the heart center. Another inhale. And then let it go, exhaling. Thank you so much for being here today, and I hope to see you again soon. Namaste.